Hey, this is Deborah Ike, founder of the Church Operations Toolkit and of this Facebook group. Thank you for joining me for this second Church Operations Deep Dive on project management. If you haven't had a chance to check out the first video, I would encourage you to do that before watching this one. The first one was on the project management process, and that's definitely something that you want to look into before selecting project management software. All right. Now, one quick favor I have to ask of you, go ahead and drop in the comments under this video which project management software tool you are currently using, if you're using one. If not, just say not using one yet. All right. Let me know what you've got going on, and we'll see if you guys have some project management software out there that I haven't covered in this video. All right. Now, first of all, what is project management software and how can we use it to make life easier for us in church? Now, first off, what project management software should be able to do for you and some of the kind of standard functionality is it should help you organize your tasks. So all of the tasks that are associated with a particular event, service, or special project, you should be able to enter all of those tasks into the software, assign someone to each task and a deadline, and be able to see that and update it. Okay, that's just standard. Any of these tools that I'm going to cover today in this video, they have that functionality. A lot of software options, you can attach files to a specific task. So if you have, social media graphics or a poster or a document that is associated with a particular task, you could attach that file to the task. Or you could include even a hyperlink to that file if you save it in OneDrive, or if you have all your stuff in Google Drive, something like that. You could do that as well. So it's easy to find that information. And a lot of tools also offer you the option of either a message board or to be able to attach messages or have some sort of online discussion within a task or a project. So that can help with, follow-up questions about a task, stuff like that. So again, these are just kind of the standard features: tasks, deadlines, assignments. One key thing can be various view options. So something like Trello is definitely more geared towards a board view with different cards. And then within each card, you have kind of the tasks associated with an effort. Whereas other options like Asana or ClickUp or Monday, they're going to have a more traditional project management view that's kind of the list of tasks. Or a lot of those you can look at it in a board view, a Gantt chart, a timeline, a calendar. They have different options. So that's something to consider as well, because one person on your team may love one kind of view and somebody else is going to like a different kind of view. If you can all do that within the same tool, that makes it easier to get people to use the tool and keep it updated. So how can project management software help us? Well, one thing that it can really save you time on is fewer meetings and less email. So for example, let's say you want to find out the status of planning this big event at your church or planning a renovation of the nursery. Instead of having the project manager have to go around to each person and ask them, hey, are you done yet? Have you finished this task? Where are you at with this part of the project? Stuff like that. As long as everyone on the team is using the tool and they're updating their tasks, so they're marking it complete, or they're letting you know, hey, this is going to be a day late, something like that, then all the project manager has to do is go into the software and take a quick look and see where things are at. That makes life a lot easier on the project manager, and it helps to reduce the number of kind of weekly status meetings that you have to have. And instead, if you need to schedule a meeting, that can be for something that requires a little bit more detailed discussion than maybe you could have in the little message board in the tool. Another thing that it can help with is reducing your email traffic, because instead of a lot of back and forth questions about something and then later trying to find that email thread, you can keep all of that information within the tool. So if there's questions about a particular task, you can have that discussion or that back and forth within the task in that project management tool instead of in your email. So if you need to, if you're trying to figure out, okay, what did Joe say about that again? You go into your project management tool and look at that task, and it's all there instead of trying to hunt and peck for it in your email. Another thing that software can really help with is helping everyone know when their stuff is due and sending them automated task reminders. So instead of, again, a manager or the project manager having to go around to everybody and remind them, hey, this is coming up due this week, you can actually just go into the tool, log in, take a quick look at what's coming up for you for that day or that week, and get to work. Okay. Or if you have it set up this way, you could get a notification email to let you know, hey, these are your tasks coming up this week. And again, I've talked about this a few times, but having all the messages and files related to a project in a central location makes things so much easier when you're trying to go back and find them. Plus, let's say you do a big marriage retreat this year, and you know that if it's a big success, let's say you want to do it again next year. Well, instead of starting from scratch with a brand new project plan and all the tasks and stuff associated with it, you can go back to what you did this year, copy it over, and you can reuse some of the same messaging, some of the same, you can update the graphics if you want, or use some of the same conference materials, whatever. But you have all that information already to start with, so you're not starting from scratch, which can save you a whole lot of time and money. And finally, another big thing that project management software can help you with is providing some quick and up-to-date status info. So again, this is something that the project manager will love, something that an executive pastor or a ministry pastor or director would appreciate, is just being able to go to one place really quick and see how things are going, instead of having to have a big meeting or go and email a bunch of people. Now, I will issue a quick disclaimer or a cautionary tale, however you want to look at it. No matter how much you spend, you can buy the most expensive and feature-rich project management tool out there and still have problems with your project management results. You could still be overdue and over budget. Okay. The tool is not going to fix a broken process. A tool is not going to make, the women's ministry director go talk to the communications team and far enough in advance to make sure that the promotional video that she wants will be created on time and with the level of excellence that everyone wants. Okay, it's not going to force people to communicate. It's not going to hold people accountable to deadlines. So please, please, please do not expect the tool to fix all that stuff for you. Most of us don't go into it with that specifically in our thought process, but it's kind of in the back of our minds of, yeah, this will fix it. No, I'm sorry, it won't. You really need to make sure that you go back, watch the first video, make sure your project management process is on point and is going to be effective for you, and then add a tool on top of it. Granted, you might have to tweak some of your specific workflows based on which tool you use, but the basic process should remain the same no matter what tool you select. So just know that improving the outcomes of your projects is not going to happen just by choosing software and by using it. Okay. True improvement is going to require some leadership to step up and really get people on board with using the tool, using it consistently, adhering to the project management process that you put in place, and then having discipline as a team to meet your deadlines and let people know if you're overwhelmed and have too many things going on and need help, so that you can meet deadlines. Okay. So just a word of caution, because I've seen it happen a few times. So with that in mind, let's talk about what I consider to be the top contenders. I have either used these, or the only one I haven't used at all is Microsoft Planner. The rest of them I've used to some level. Basecamp, it's been a few years, but I'm at least familiar with the basic functionality. So that's why these made the list. Oh, the other one I haven't used is ClickUp, but I've seen so many great reviews of it. I had to go check it out, and it looks really great. So that's why it made the list for me. So let's talk about Asana. I'm pretty sure that's the right pronunciation, but you can correct me if I've got it wrong. With this one, you can organize projects in a pretty standard list view. They also have options for a calendar view. I think they recently added a board view as well, but you organize your projects within teams. So you could have a team that's the communications team or the youth department or church-wide efforts could be a team. And then you would put a project under each team. Okay. And then, of course, the tasks associated with that project would be listed within it. You can link your projects to Google Calendar, but it is a one-way integration. So it goes from Asana to the Google Calendar. It doesn't tasks or things that you would add onto your Google Calendar would not come back over into Asana. With the paid plans, you could include task dependencies. So if task A has to be completed before task B can start, that's something that you could notate within the paid version of Asana. But they do have a free basic plan available. So that makes it easy to just kind of try it out and see if it would be a good fit. Next option is Basecamp. With Basecamp, they don't call it tasks, they call it to-dos. Same thing. One of the unique features about Basecamp is they have a message board. So you can have a message board just about a certain topic, or maybe one about just quick status updates, stuff like that. They have the option for, a shared calendar. So everyone could log in and just see the calendar for a particular project. You can save files within Basecamp, have a whole file structure within there. So that might actually be an alternative to a Google Drive or a OneDrive functionality. They have various project reports that are available, which is always nice to be able to see that. And they do have a 30-day free trial. It's not like it's the free version that you can use for as long as you want. It's the whole software, but just for 30 days. Trello is a very different tool in how they organize the information as opposed to Asana or Basecamp or these others that I'm referring to today. Within Trello, you don't have the traditional list view of all the tasks. Instead, you organize your efforts by boards. And so a board is a project. Within that board, you would have multiple cards or lists. You'd have multiple lists, and within the list are cards. I get confused a little bit with this one. The lists are basically like your progress status. So you would actually move a card from one list to the next based on where it is at. So maybe it's to do versus in progress versus completed would be your different lists. And then the cards represent those tasks that need to be completed. Okay. A lot of what I found is people that are more visual or more creatively minded tend to like Trello, or at least like the board view as an option. I kind of grew up with the standard project management plan view where it's a list of all the tasks and Gantt charts and all that kind of stuff. So Trello isn't really my cup of tea, but it can be a great option for folks that prefer that view. Trello offers a nonprofit discount and they have a free version available. So that's something to consider. Monday, within this one, you can organize your projects in a similar fashion to Asana. They have, the Gantt chart view, the list view, calendar, all that kind of stuff. So that's helpful. They also have a team workload view. So you could kind of see if, maybe you've got multiple projects and somehow you managed to schedule 50 different things due for one person in a specific week. And that might be a bit much. You can kind of figure out, okay, now we need to change some of those deadlines and reallocate resources a bit to spread things out a bit better. Monday also offers several different integrations. So you can integrate this with like a Google Calendar or other tools like that. And they do have free trial options. The next one is ClickUp. ClickUp has a lot of different options within it. So it's one of those tools where you can just narrow it down and use one particular functionality, or you can broaden the scope and use a lot of different aspects of the tool. So that's kind of nice where it can grow with you, so to speak. They do have a lot of different view options available. So again, that's great for a diverse team that wants, somebody wants a Gantt chart, somebody can't stand a Gantt chart and wants to see a board view. Great. You can probably accommodate both. Within ClickUp, you would create spaces, and underneath a space would be a project. Okay, so, or a folder would equate to a project. And from there, you can create your tasks. So if you have projects that are just within one department, you would create a space for that department and then projects under it. For projects that are church-wide, that impact multiple departments, you would want a church-wide space. And under that, you would have your specific project. You can create templates for projects in ClickUp. So if you do an event every year, you could create the template the first year that you're using ClickUp for that particular project. And then the next year, just use that template again. And you don't have to start over. You don't have to start from scratch year over year. So that's always a great option. And then finally, they do have a free option. Plus, they also offer discounted pricing for nonprofits. Now, this last one, full disclosure, I have not used Microsoft Planner, so I'm not super familiar with it. But the reason I included it is Microsoft Planner is included with Microsoft 365. So if that is something that your church already is paying for, that you're already using, then you already have this option available. So something to consider. Again, if you already have Microsoft 365, you might test it out and see if this would be a good fit. Within Microsoft Planner, you tend to organize projects a little bit more like Trello. So you would organize them in boards, but they do have a list view available. It looks like in their tasks app that's in Microsoft Teams. So again, I'm sorry I can't give you a whole lot of specifics about that. I was just looking at their documentation to kind of see what they offered. So I haven't used it, but again, this would probably be something to check out if you're already paying for 365. Now, any of these project management software options could be great contenders. Any of them could probably work for your team. But which one is the best option for your church? And so here's my tips on how to figure that out. First and foremost, you gotta nail down your process and decide, how do we want to manage projects? Are you going to have an assigned project manager to coordinate all of the tasks and make sure communication is happening, especially between departments? Are you going to manage all your projects in the same fashion? How are you going to do all this stuff? Are you going to manage every event as a project? That sort of thing. Okay, so think that through. Go watch the first video if you haven't had a chance to yet. And as a team, decide, here's how we're going to manage our projects. From there, that should help you figure out which features are the most important for you and for your church. Is it super important that you have a list view versus a board view? Is it important that the tool integrate with Google Drive? Is it important, that it integrates not with Google Drive, but with Google Calendar or OneDrive? Think through that, document those must-have features so that you can use that when you're looking at that tool's website and their, what features they have. If they don't include one of your top 10 features or whatever, take that one off the list. Okay. And honestly, the next best thing is to just try it out. Take something very simple. Maybe it's a, beautification day in the spring, that where you freshen up the mulch and plant some new flowers and clean the windows and do some basic, minor repair stuff. Maybe that's something you would do over a long weekend with volunteers. That might be a fairly compact project that you could use to test out. with the project management tool. You might take your average Sunday service or maybe a sermon series and use that as a project within a tool. Something that you can contain within the next, with 4 to 6 weeks max, so that you can run all the tasks through the tool, have 2 or 3 people use it. You don't need to get every single person on staff and every volunteer that's going to be involved in it when you're just testing something out. Get a few people in there to kind of kick the tires and see if you like it. Take it out for a test drive. Try a couple. Maybe you try Asana and ClickUp, or Trello and Monday. I don't know. Whatever works best for you. But try a couple out. See which one it seems to be the best fit. The group that you have test this out. Make sure that you include people from at least a couple different departments within the church, and include at least one person who either just does not want to use a project management tool or who isn't super tech savvy. Okay, because you need to make sure that it is user friendly and it is something that they'll actually enjoy using and will see the benefits of using. Okay, so try and include at least one kind of resistant person on the team to test this thing out. Because if you can get them on board, you're probably good with everybody else. And then finally, pick one. Choose your favorite and get ready to implement it with everybody that's going to be involved in planning and executing the tasks for a new project at your church. And that is a great segue into the next video, in which I'm going to talk about the combination of the project management process and then how to implement a brand new project management tool for your church. So we'll talk about that whole effort in the next video. Now, if you haven't picked this up yet, go to churchoperationstoolkit.com/Feb2021. Shoot me your name and email address. I will send you a PDF that includes some of the information about all of these project management tools and a brief overview of what I'm covering in these videos. And finally, this is stuff that I cover on a variety of different topics within the Church Operations Toolkit. The toolkit is a membership site where you can buy a monthly membership or annual. You can get access to all kinds of templates like an employee handbook, how-to guides, the books I've written on volunteer management, church event planning, risk management. There's information on facilities, on church management software, accounting processes, all the stuff that it takes behind the scenes to support your church effectively. That's what I try and include within the Church Operations Toolkit. So go check it out. See if you're interested in joining us in the toolkit. We have a lot of great happy members that are in there already, and I look forward to hopefully adding you to that group. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email over at support@churchoperationstoolkit.com or drop me a line within the Facebook group. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you at the next video.